Hello, and welcome to this webinar on how to survive English accents. Powerful tips to understand a conversation with any English speaker. English is spoken in different parts of the world. However, in different regions, it has characteristics that make it special, and many times it is difficult for listeners to understand accents, vocabulary, and even some cultural aspects. So today, we have a very special guest for you, Professor Daniel Wee-Ellis from West Indies Universities. Professor Wee-Ellis is going to tell us three important elements to consider when having a conversation with a native speaker. So, now let's take a look at Professor Wee-Ellis' profile.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this transmission. My name is Daniel Wee-Ellis and I'm an English teacher here in Colombia. How are you guys doing? How's it been? It's been a rough year for the world, and I know that some of you have been home since maybe March or thereabout, but I hope everything has been fine, right? So today I'm going to give you some tips to understand English accent and native English accents, and just how to really have a nice flowing conversation with native speakers. I don't want you guys to be thinking that it's a class. It's not a class. We're just going to have a very interactive session just to get you guys to understand more how natives speak, you know the nuances that are involved with languages, and basically just to have a free-flowing conversation with your native counterparts, right? So, just going to give you a bit of background about who I am. I'm Daniel Wee-Ellis. I'm from Jamaica. I studied international relations. I got TEFL certified this year, but I've been teaching for a while. I came to Colombia maybe like 3 years ago, and ever since then I've been here. So just gonna give you some tips, as I said before, about how to really understand and have a good conversation with a native. Now, my first tip, do not translate. This is something that I've seen many students doing, right? When I speak to my students, usually they try to filter English through Spanish. And we all know, I know a lot of you guys on the live are maybe language learners, and some of you guys are English teachers. So, keep it in mind. Do not translate. What happens is that maybe at the beginning, while learning a language, it is good to translate because, you know nothing. So the brain automatically tries to, interpret what is being said, what is being done, everything that is involved. But it's very important that you don't continue translating as you get better or as your English journey materializes, as it goes along. Because, as I said, the word order in one language is different in another language. And I know you guys know. For example, in Spanish, you guys say la chica bonita, la bonita chica, or la chica bonita. But in English, what do we say? A pretty girl. And the order changes. So imagine listening, literally just listening to someone and trying to translate every single thing they say. It really doesn't help. So please, stop translating. Also, I want you guys to identify cognates. If you don't know what cognates are, I'm going to give you some examples. Actualmente, últimamente, attend, assist. These are some of them. But what are the translations for these? Do they sound the way they're? Do they sound? Does the meaning? Is the meaning the same, I should say, as how it sounds in the other language? For example, atender in Spanish. Is it attend in English? Últimamente. Is it ultimately? Also, actualmente does not mean actually. So these are some things that will damage your English if you're trying to translate everything that the native speaker is saying. Good? Now, there are also processes, the writing, reading, listening, and the speaking processes happening at the same time. Well, imagine watching a movie and translating everything that the person is saying. You will lose sense of what's going on, and it really doesn't help, So, as I said, first rule, do not translate. And in general, it really ruins your learning and your social experiences. Like imagine being at a bar or a pub with some friends, you see a native speaker having a beer, and you approach a person and you start speaking. Maybe you have very bad listening. and the person starts telling you about their day, and you're like, you're going to get frozen, because what happens is that you're just basically trying to translate everything the person is saying. You lose sense of what's going on, and it really just kills the social experience, right? So that's point one. Do not translate. Two, be relaxed and attentive. Please, in an English or any conversation, learning any language, be attentive. And as I said, relaxed. Why is this important? Imagine you're here, right here with me. We're talking about, sports or something. And I'm talking about Messi. Everyone knows that right now Messi is thinking about leaving Barcelona. What are some of the things that you expect to hear? Things related to sports, right? Contracts, football, the word, of course, Messi. You expect to hear something like transfer, anything that has to do with football jargon. But if you are not attentive, you will not hear these words. And if you're not relaxed, what tends to happen is that the brain goes under extreme stress. And I know it's very difficult to learn English, well, or any language, but in this case, we're talking about English. So imagine you're talking to, as I said, to me, and you're trying to translate one, and you're a bit agitated or nervous because you don't know the words that I'm going to use. You're not really able to figure out the context in which we're speaking. What happens is that your brain gets a block, and that's it. Once your brain goes in that mode, trust me, you will lose almost everything, because your hearing becomes your speaking basically shuts off, and everything just gets blurred to you. So please be relaxed. Try to think, well, not think too much about what the person is saying, but just try to get everything flowing, Just breathe, be relaxed, and be present in the conversation. Absorb the information and don't think of possible answers to add to the conversation. Like the person is speaking about Messi, as I said before. If you're there thinking about the grammar and thinking about the vocab and thinking about everything, then it will never develop and be delivered. Actually, the other day I was talking to a friend, and it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I was talking with him, and I know that he doesn't have perfect English. So what happens was that I was using basic grammar, basic constructions, but the guy was always thinking about what to say before he spoke to me. And what that did was basically, when he started to respond, it was just I don't and he started to Please, you don't have to do that. Be relaxed. We understand that it's difficult, and we understand that communicating your ideas can be very stressful. But the moment you relax and not think too much about the grammar, the vocab, and everything, it will flow a lot more, right? Also, pay attention to body language. I know that we listen with our ears, but communication is not always verbal. We can also see the person's expressions, and this helps to contextualize what we're talking about. Like, for example, if you see we're having a conversation, and I'm like, yeah, I just had a breakup with my girlfriend and blah 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 blah. What are you expecting based on my body language? Well, of course, you're expecting me to talk about something sad. So your brain naturally goes into that context. You start to feel, you get empathetic, and you start to feel everything that I'm feeling, right? And what that does, it leaves you in a position where it's easier to communicate because the message is clear. Maybe not all the words, but the message in and of itself becomes clearer, right? Good. Absorb information. Yeah, I said that before. Overthinking also creates stress and in turn causes more errors in messages and lapse in communication. As the same thing that happened with my friend. He lost track of the conversation. He started using words that really weren't in that context, and I basically didn't understand anything he was saying. Good? Then we have, by the way, at the end of this, I'll be taking some questions. So you guys go ahead, write your questions in the chat, and I'll answer some of them. My team will give me the list of maybe 3 questions thereabout, so I can answer at the end. So, it's interactive, so please tell me everything in the comments. I'll be looking at them after, and I just need you guys to make sure that you're doing interacting with me. It's gonna be short, and it's just based on my experiences, everything that I've seen, and things that I realized that, especially my students here in Colombia, things that they do and how they really, the problems they face when listening to me, interacting with me, and everything involved. Good? Now, next point. Listen out for contractions. In English, we have informal contractions and we also have formal contractions. Formal contractions include didn't, can't, won't, all the normal ones. But we also have the informal ones that are used, like sometimes they're overused. And I realized that when I just came here and I was interacting with my language students, they wouldn't understand the basic ones, of course. They wouldn't understand like when I said something like, okay, I gotta go, or I want to get something to eat, or I want to do something tonight, maybe go out. They always ask me, what was that word? Wanna, gotta, gotcha. And if you look right here, you can see some of them. Informal contractions like kinda, wanna, don'tcha, gimme, gotta, lemme, and watcha. I'm not going to give you the meaning of them because that is going to be your homework. But I'm going to use some examples and I'll see if you guys understand. So what am I saying in this one? I want to go out tonight. Write the answer in the comments. But the formal way, not using the informal way like wanna. Tell me what you would say if you were speaking in a conference. I gotta go now, it's late. Give me the answer. I'm gonna buy a new car tomorrow. How would you write this in an essay? How would you tell your teacher that you're gonna buy a new car tomorrow? See? So as I said before, these are very popular in English, and also we realize that we speak fast, and it's necessary for you to learn the standard first before going into the informal contractions, because if you don't learn the basic way first or the fundamentals, then you will get lost along the way because you will see the real way or the formal way and won't understand, right? So keep that in mind. It's important to learn the basics and then understand the contractions. As I said, write your concerns there. I really want to see what you guys have written. So interested in what's going on online, but I can't see it now because, I'm in transmission. And there is also a myth, I heard this recently, that British speakers don't use contractions. Like, I think it was like 2 days ago, one of my students said, profe, me estaba revisando algo y la verdad es que me di cuenta de que no utilizan contracciones en Inglaterra. La verdad es que sí. Sí lo hacen. La verdad es que sí. Todos lo hacemos. In Jamaica, we use it. In the United States, in Australia, in whichever country where that English is spoken, contractions are present. So please, it's just a myth that British speakers do not use contractions. The informal ones, that is. Like a gotta, because I've heard, like I have a friend, well, I have many friends here that are from England or from Ireland and Scotland. And they usually say, what's that thing that you always say? I've gotta, yeah. I've gotta go. In the United States, of course, they say, I gotta go. But in England, they say, I've gotta go. But it's still a contraction. So train your ears, really, to pay attention to all this. As I said before, no translating. Be relaxed and attentive. Be present in the conversation, because we will realize, maybe she's not understanding me, or maybe he's not understanding what I'm saying. So to make this, to have a very fluid conversation, something feeling a bit more natural, please implement these rules. Well, not really rules, just tips, and you will see how your language experience gets better. Right, so we're now at informal contractions are used. So the thing is, when you learn the formal contractions, it is good, but at the same time, when you're in a conversation, it's best to use, well, of course, based on the context and the person with whom you're speaking, it is best to use the informal ones in a general conversation, maybe at a football game. Maybe you're also at the bar, maybe even to some students when you're outside, just having a chit chat. Yeah, now adapt to the speaker's flow. This is one of the most important points, and please, I can't stress it any longer. Flow isn't accent. Just think about this. I mean, right now, I imagine that you guys are now understanding, or you have gotten used to my flow of speaking. but my flow isn't my accent. If you close your eyes and you listen to me, you realize how I pronounce my words, the spacing between, the intonations, and everything. This is more or less what we consider the flow. But imagine speaking to someone from Spain, but that person is just a slow speaker. But you know, the Spanish accent from Spain, of course, is super fast. Even I have problems sometimes, right? What you have to do is adapt to the speaker's flow, how they, you know, the speed, spacing, and everything, as I said before. For example, I can speak fast right now, and you guys may not understand a thing that I'm saying. Did you get that? That is the flow, how that person speaks. But then maybe I can start speaking like this, and the person who's beside me can't understand a thing that I'm saying. You see, that is a change. So I just switched my accent, but I also switched my flow. So in Bogota, for example, I realized that mucha gente aquí habla con el acento rolo y pues es un poco chistoso para mí porque ta 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 ta. That is the Bogota accent. But there are people who have the Bogota accent, but they have their own flow. So when you're in a conversation with a native, it's good to, well, the previous tips that I gave will help you to adapt to the person's flow. For example, you're sitting in, let's change the context, you're at the park and boom, a dog comes by. You're like, hey doggy, blah, blah, blah. You're talking to the dog and the owner comes and the person happens to be from, let's say, England. You're talking with the person said, I'm sorry, the dog, blah, blah, blah. What do you realize? That immediately your ears starts to wonder, okay, what am I hearing? What's going on? And then it slowly adapts to the person's way of speaking. You know, I have many friends that even in English, I don't understand them because of their flow. Their flow is different from their accent, right? You take the United States, for example. There are people who I've seen, like my stepdad, he's from Boston, and his flow is different from that of Matt Damon. And Matt Damon is also from Boston, right? So pay attention to that. Now I'm going to switch to a bit of a Jamaican accent for you guys to see how we speak in Jamaica. Watch out for the linking. We have the consonant at the end with the vowel. What happens is that when we link words, it's very important for you guys to understand what is happening. Have you ever been in a situation where you see, like, you're listening English for the first time and you realize that everything sounds like one. Everything sounds like one word. The entire sentence sounds like one word. What really is happening? All the English teachers, tell me what is happening when you hear a sentence that sounds like one word. It's the linking. We have the consonant with the vowel. We have the verb, the vowel with the T, and then the vowel that we pronounce the T like a D, but that is American English. We have the R and the V. Where are you? Where is it? Where are you going? We have a strong R there, and we have the consonant and the same consonant that creates a strong consonant. All these are things that happen in English that we do it unconsciously. So it's I know it's hard, but it's good for you guys to understand that, you know, this is just the way we speak. We really can't help it. It's just a part of our language, just as you guys have Spanish or whichever language you speak. It is just the way language is. And for me, it was especially difficult in Spanish. You know, there are not many linking because the pronunciations vary depending on the place. But I can say I realized that when I was listening, it was. I'm trying to think of an example. Let's just say, once my ears got trained, I understood almost everything. Not everything, of course, because languages can be difficult, especially Spanish, that is spoken so quickly with people with different flows, people with different accents, and the same thing applies to English. Just think about it. Watch a lot of movies, get used to the Australian accent, get used to the Jamaican accent, the American accent, the British accent, the Indian accent, which can be very difficult, even for English natives. But I love the Indian accent. I have many Indian friends, and I should say they're some of the most awesome people that I've met. But I know the accent can be a bit tedious to understand, a bit difficult. Good. Of course, along that same line, depending on the person and setting, many idioms and slangs may come into play. This is another thing under the same speaking flow and everything. 20 bucks. Which country would you hear 20 bucks or 20 quid? When you hear 20 bucks, which country comes to mind? When you hear 20 quid, which country comes to mind? For the people from Colombia, if I say, préstame 20 lucas, ¿de dónde soy? Where I'm from. 20 barra. Where am I from? When you speak about these things, how do you, like, as I said, people from Colombia, this is especially for you guys. 20 barra, 20 lucas. What do you hear? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? It's a slang. For what? For money. No sé, voy a comprar la fría. ¿Dónde se escucha eso? Préstame 20,000 para la fría. ¿Dónde se escucha eso? O es que no, esta noche voy con mis amigos a comprar unas polas. Where do you hear that? That is what I mean when you need to learn the different slangs from the different countries. You know, they use idioms based on the context, the setting. They use their own slangs from their region or even from their entire country. Think about it. It's very, like, it is so important. I can't stress it anymore. In Jamaica, we say, yo, lend me $20. We use dollar in Jamaica. When in the United States, they say, lend me 20 bucks. In England, they say, mate, may I have 20 quid? So, mate, what is mate in Spanish? What would that be? People from Bogotá. If there are costeños, si hay costeños en el chat, por favor, escriban. ¿Qué sería un mate? Para los que sí estudiaban inglés, ¿qué es un mate? Piénsenlo bien. Mate, lend me 20 quid. Where's that from? And how would you translate that to Spanish? Spanish from your region, please. Not general Spanish, because now we're talking about, you know, accents and flows and modismos. Piénsenlo bien, porque yo voy a dar la respuesta, entonces apúrense. Mate, let me have 20 quid. Bueno, I'm going to give the answers in 3 different countries. Here, I think they'd say in Bogotá, ve si me puedes prestar 20 lucas. No. Aquí dicen Luca. Bueno, tengo que averiguar con mis amigos después. Pero, ve si me puedes prestar 20 pesos o 20,000 pesos. Bogotá. When you think about the coast, is ¿qué dicen ahí? Se me olvidó. Entonces, ¿qué? Préstame 20 lucas, 20 barra. Dame 20 barra por ahí. That's the costeño. In Jamaica, you'd hear someone say, yo, brother, lend me $20. $20. And in the United States, as I said before, hey, buddy, let me have 20. No, wait, let me think about it. Yeah. Hey, buddy, lend me $20. I got to buy some no sé qué. You see? So this is the difference. And this is how you get to really understand the cultural aspect of what is language and how to understand the natives. Understanding the Jamaican is not difficult, but it can be challenging if you don't know the slangs and the idioms that we use in Jamaica. Understanding the American is the same thing. Everything goes based on how the people are culturally oriented. So really think about it. I'm trying to think of more examples because, you know, it's my journey especially has been very interesting because I studied. No, I'll tell you my story after. Let's continue with the tips. Now we go to don't use subtitles for listening practice. And I'm going to put on a serious face for this one. Do not use subtitles for listening practice. I know many people do it. Many people think that it's a good way to practice listening, but hear me out. We have 2 processes happening at the same time. We have the active processes and the passive processes. Active processes include speaking and writing. Passive processes include listening and reading. Now, follow me, please. I know some of you guys are going to say, no, pero profe, es que siempre me han dicho que escuchando películas y leyendo es muy bien. No. For listening practice, it is not good. Let's do an experiment. I want you guys to write in the chat what I'm saying right now. I'm going to say a sentence, and I want you to... No, that's a bad one. Close your eyes. Just listen to me, but just close your eyes. The book's on the table. Now open your eyes and tell me in the chat what you heard. Now, if I had right here a paper that says the books on the table, which skill are you developing if you're looking at it and, well, reading it? What skill is being developed? Your reading skills. Now, for a listening practice, by the way, why do you think that they don't put the subtitles of the audio when you're doing a listening exam? Because you're doing a listening exam. It's not a reading exam. So for listening, you have to train your ears to the person's accent, of the person's flow, and the modismos y toda la cosa que se envuelve ahí, ¿no? So you really have to think about, if I want to listen and improve my listening, how am I gonna watch a movie with subtitles? It doesn't make sense, right? It really doesn't make sense. So my advice to most of my students, a lot of them say, verdad se puede, ¿no? Es que, pero profe, es que yo voy a perder toda la película si no estoy entendiendo nada. Pero, ¿qué creen que me pasó a mí cuando llegué aquí? Es más, cuando llegué aquí, estaba en Cincelejo, donde el acento es diferente. Cuando la gente estaba hablando, yo tenía subtítulos ahí y palabras tachadas que pronunciaban mal, no, estaba ahí. Entonces, to really make your listening practice, to really improve your listening in English, you need to train your ears. I know it's difficult, so I usually tell my students sometimes, start with the basics, start with something that really interests you, you know? Sports, for the guys or the girls, or everyone who loves sports, listen to interviews, you know, based on the accents, of course. You can listen to Alex Ferguson. He has a Scottish accent, and it is difficult, even for me. You can listen to Will Smith. You know, anyone who is maybe acting. If you like drama, go and listen to stuff in drama, related to drama. If you like football, go and listen to things related to football. And then you realize you feel comfortable because, as I said before, what previous tip applies to this? If you're comfortable, you have to be relaxed and attentive. So think about if you're sitting there listening or watching something that you're interested in. Your ears are going to be, your eyes, your body language, everything is going to be connected. So it's very important for you to start off by using things that you're interested in, so you don't get discouraged. Then you slowly go out of your comfort zone and you realize that, okay, fine. For me, for example, it was very difficult for me to understand medical jargon while at university. But I always wanted to push myself, you know? Like, I got to a certain level and I was like, nah, es que eso yo ya no soy nativo. Tengo que alcanzar un nivel muy alto de español. So what did I do? I tried to, well, initially, started watching things I was interested in, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo's interviews in Spanish, because I know that while he was at Madrid, especially in the initial years, he had not so good Spanish, but it helped me to know the mistakes that I shouldn't make. I could see the things that he did that weren't too correct. Then I started listening to Sergio Ramos. Of course, he's native, but he's not going to speak academic Spanish, you know, he's going to speak how he speaks. So that kind of trained my ears to the Spanish from Spain. Then I started listening to Colombians. I'm like, wow, but that's a big difference. You know, the flow, as I said before, everyone has their own flow. Everyone has, well, each country and region has their own accent. And that basically helped me to make everything like come into one. So now I can really say I have maybe my listening may be the best skill that I have. Well, listening and speaking, because I talk a lot, or so I've been told. But yeah, listening to train your ears, please do not watch movies with subtitles. For listening practice, for speaking practice, for pronunciation practice, go ahead. Bien pueda, por favor. You're listening, so you hear the pronunciation and you see the word. So what does that do? The person is basically dictating, but you're actually seeing it. So it helps you to pronounce that word well, but not necessarily help you to train your ears. You see, they're two different processes. And I really hope you guys are understanding, because it is something that I realized even like recently with one of my students. I did the same little experiment with him about, you know, the books on the table, and he didn't understand anything I was saying. And I started writing what I was saying, and he was following, and I was like, okay, that's what's happening. He's mixing the two processes, and it doesn't work like that. I mean, it will improve you paso por paso, but you won't really get that independent improvement. And that is what we're looking for. If you want to improve I'd say your speaking, listen more, so you get an understanding of the accent, you get an understanding of the person's flow, so you can copy it, and then you can speak better. But you have to practice speaking. So listening helped my speaking. Reading, reading helped my writing. How? Because when I read, I saw how they made the grammatical constructions. I could understand see spelling and all of that. So reading helped writing. Listening helped speaking. Let's continue with the tips. Something I forgot. Intonation. Pay attention to intonations. I know that different countries have intonations and words that maybe shouldn't be there. Well, I wouldn't say shouldn't, because every country has their own way of speaking. Like in Jamaica, we put intonations, we have different intonations on different words that really, you don't really hear a lot in other countries. So pay attention to the intonations, because they make it tricky sometimes. Just a tip, right? And as I said before, please interact with me in the chat, because I'll be looking at it after and answering some of your questions. For the Colombians, ¿cuántas veces especialmente ustedes, cuántas veces han escuchado personas hablando con nativos y dicen cosas como, yo sí hablo inglés, yo sé inglés? Y cuando la persona empieza a hablar con ellos, no, tampoco así, es que yo sí sé inglés, pero para leer y eso, pero no para hablar. What was the problem there? Why did that happen? Why is that happening? Because they are mixing the processes, and also they don't practice. They do not practice. You guys read when you're supposed to be listening, and it really doesn't help. You have to really take that into consideration. Es que para hablarlo no soy tan bueno, pero sí, para entenderlo y todo eso, sí, unas cositas por ahí. That's what they say all the time. Another tip, imitate a native accent. And this is one of the things that I've tried to, break down for many people, not just students, for my executive friends, for everyone. It's not necessary, it's not a rule that you should imitate an English accent. Please do not think that we're trying to colonize you guys. That is not the idea. But to have a more natural conversation, to have a more natural conversation and to really pronounce your words better, you're going to have to imitate an accent. Because if you use a Spanish pronunciation to pronounce an English word, well, it's not really an English word. Like, what am I saying? Very good. How was your day? No, teacher, my day was very good. That is not really speaking English, right? What is happening there? It's that you're using the Spanish accent to pronounce in English, and then the native will not really understand what you're saying, because they're used to their own accent or their own, based on where they're from. They're used to that. And so for them to have a more, fluid, natural conversation with you, they want to hear something that is familiar to their ears, right? And for you to get a bit more confident and stuff, try to imitate an accent. Any accent there is, Jamaican, you can talk like a Jamaican and everyone will still understand you. American, you can talk like an American and everyone will still understand you. British, I'm not so good at the British accent, but I'll try. You can speak like a... Se me perdió. No puedo. Bueno, you can talk like, you can speak like one of us, but it's not necessary that we want you to always do that. It's just that we need to understand you. Very bad accent, but you guys will understand. I'm Jamaican and I'm proud of my roots. So it allows the conversation to be more natural, and it helps with the flow. Next, with expression. Imitate the action to really get that expression out. Because maybe in your language, what you're saying isn't accompanied by a specific expression, but in that person's language, it is. Or in an accent, it is. And to really get you guys to understand all this imitating accents, I have 2 videos of 2 students that I had in Cincelejo, and trust me, these guys had even today, I think they're top 5 accents that I've heard ever in Colombia. Why do I say that? Because yeah, they're Colombian, but they've never been outside. They've never traveled to the United States or England, but they have made the effort to copy accents, and this has made communication for them way easier. Now look at this video. This is my student, Abigail Benitez. She studied at la Universidad de Sucre cuando estaba trabajando en Cincelejo. Ella era mi estudiante. Entonces, look at this video and tell me which accent you're hearing.
Hello, Daniel and Universidad Javeriana. My name is Abigail Benitez and I'm from Cincelejo, Sucre. I just wanted to come here and say hi to you guys. How are you all doing? And yeah, I wish you a very good day. Bye!
Yeah, so tell me, what accent was that? And please, Abby is, maybe she's the smartest language learner I've ever had. Like, there is not, she's like a sponge. You say something and she records it. And in the exams, she just, you know, she's amazing. And she practices a lot. She does everything that you'd want a language student to do, along with Jorge. Listen to Jorge and tell me which accent you think he has.
Well, hello there, Daniel and Javeriano. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. My name is Jorge Acosta and I am a foreign languages teacher, graduated from University of Sucre from Cincelejo, and I just wanted to come here and say hi to all of you.
Yeah, what accent was that? Now, for me, Abigail has a more British accent and Jorge has an American accent. Was it obvious that these guys were from Cincelejo, Colombia? First, they're not native English speakers. Second, they're from the coast, which has a totally different accent from what everyone is used to. So just think about the effort that these guys put into imitating these accents to become better speakers of a language. As I said, it is not to tell you guys that, we're better, so you have to speak like us. No. But to make it a bit more natural and to have everything, you know, I don't know, for me, it is just the way it is, you know? For me to speak like the people in Colombia, like the Colombians. Imagínense si yo estuviera hablando así. Ustedes me dirían que no está hablando inglés, no está hablando español. Pero yo no hablo así. Yo tenía que imitar el acento para poder comunicarme mejor con la gente, porque la gente siempre me decía cosas como, ay, pero no, ese man habla muy gringo y la verdad es que no entiendo nada. But that is what happens. You have to imitate the accent to have better communication and to really have a rapport with the people. You feel, as I said, the expressions flow better, the communication is more effective, and really you just feel more comfortable speaking like the natives. Entonces, ¿qué acento es su favorito? What accent is your favorite? And please tell me the Jamaican, because in Jamaica, we speak the best English. I am talking for all my Jamaican friends, and please, do not tell me the American or blah, blah. No, I'm here to represent Jamaica, please. We're doing Jamaica. So let's practice the Jamaican accent. Now, let's do some sentences. Where is your father? Where is your father? Just tell me what I'm saying in the chat. Where is your father? I'm going to go to the restaurant because tomorrow is my daughter's birthday. What am I saying? Does it sound neutral? Does it sound like something you've heard before? Also, all those who've been to Jamaica and really enjoy the country, please put me in the chat. Me. I want to see it all because I love my roots and I can't wait to go back to spend time with my people. So now I'm going to give you guys a bit of my journey learning Spanish. Whew. Where do I start? My mom, Hoplin Achiola, I love you. My mom was my first Spanish teacher. I don't remember what age I started learning Spanish, but my mom was my first Spanish teacher. And, you know, she doesn't speak Spanish, but she knew a bit of things, you know, like those Colombians who'd say, hablarlo no sé, pero unas cositas. Yeah, that was my mom in Spanish. She would say things like, hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Mi nombre es, blah, 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 blah. And that was where my Spanish journey began. In my private school, we studied Spanish, didn't do French, but we did Spanish. And I think I wouldn't say I was the best Spanish student because the teacher was very hard on us. And I think that has a lot to do with my journey. You know, I was disinterested from the start because the teacher was very strict. It is not bad to be strict as a teacher, but if you want your students to understand native teachers better, you have to make the process fun. You have to make them want to learn. Look at me speaking Spanish now. O sea, yo hablando español, yo ya no tengo miedo. Yo hablo todo, yo puedo hablar como costeño, literal, yo puedo hablar como costeño y también puedo fingir el acento rolo. Entonces, es que ustedes tienen que entender que hay que animar a los estudiantes para que ellos realmente se animen, por favor. Es que no sean cuchillos, ¿no? So, my Spanish journey. When I went to St. George's College, that was my high school, that was where I really started to have an interest in Spanish, you know? My teacher was, my teacher's husband was from Cuba. So she had that, you know, that tropical vibe. She's Jamaican, of course, but her Spanish was the best. So what that helped me, because from you know, maybe 12 or 13, I had people who were already interested in the culture. So that helped me to really have, you know, I wasn't in Colombia, but yeah, it was a bit of an immersion at that time. So I started there. I was a 90s student. I mean, for those who don't understand, in Jamaica, we grade from 0 to 100. In Colombia, it's from 0 to 5. So in Jamaica, 0 to 100. And I was always in the 90s for Spanish. First form, second form, third form. I even won Spanish competitions. I was good at other subjects, but I was excellent at Spanish. Why? Because I always said, why do I want to live my entire life without really getting to interact with a different culture, different people? Why would I want that, you know? Do I want to stay in Jamaica forever? Well, yeah, it's a paradise. Anyone would want to. But of course, you want to see, you know, a bit of the world, what is there to experience. So I said, okay, I'm going to embark on a journey to make my Spanish perfect. So studied a lot, did all my homework as everyone should. Got to fourth form, fifth form. Did CAPE for the Jamaicans or the Caribbean people in the chat, in the webinar. You know what CAPE is. I did CAPE and I finished fifth in the country. Bueno, CAPE sería para los colombianos ICFES. Y yo salí quinto en Jamaica para español. Entonces estaba como, pero, quinto. Eso para mí pareció súper bien, ¿no? Entonces cuando llegué a la U, estaban los profesores nativos. That was when I realized that, pero esta vaina está muy difícil, ¿no? That was when it really got difficult because I was really interacting with the culture itself. It was like real immersion. My teachers were from Colombia, from Spain, from Cuba, from Mexico, from El Salvador. La señora Núñez, por favor. ¿Dónde más? Argentina, señora Bruni. All these teachers are native. And what happened was that I realized that my ears was getting the training. I was in class, so I was relaxed. I was doing my homework. I was listening. I was doing everything that I needed to do. So what happened? What was the end result? I started to speak like them. I started to understand what they were saying. Everything started to fall in place. The only thing that I needed to improve, of course, were like my writing and learning different modismos and expressions. So I finished the University of the West Indies where I studied international relations and Spanish as a minor. Then I applied to the ISATEX program, came here to Colombia in 2017, and it's a different world, you know? Learning a new language is literally being a new person. You're not yourself. Trust me. When you learn a new language, you become someone else. And that is what I really love about, you know, my journey. I came here, I was teaching in Cincelejo, mi ciudad. I was teaching academic writing. I was the assistant. I was the assistant for vivo in English. There were various courses, conversation. And I would say my contact with Cincelejo really helped me to grow, I don't know. It's like thinking about Cincelejo right now gives me a feeling of nostalgia, right? I get so nostalgic thinking about it because it really pushed me because of their accents, of course. Also pushed me because the people were so friendly. I felt so comfortable being here. Colombia is, I think everyone in the world should visit Colombia for 1 week in their lives, at least 1 week. You should, because everything is here. And I implore my Jamaican friends, guys, please learn Spanish or learn any other language. Get in touch with a different culture, like I did, and you will see how much you don't know, you know? And listening to people in other languages, well, listen to native speakers of other languages shows you that, wow, you are just this in the entire world. So go out, learn, you know, train your ears, be relaxed, speak to your native friends, and you will see how much your Spanish or English improves. Depends on who is listening. So yeah, back to Cincelejo. Sorry. So I came here already with C1, right? And being here, you know, you get immersed in the Latin culture. You start mixing up your words. You start thinking in English when you should think in Spanish. You start dreaming in Spanish, and then you wonder, wow, have I made it? But really, being here improved everything. But, you know, you will have your questions. I'm ready to listen to them. And please, guys, I've really enjoyed this journey. I hope that my tips have helped you guys. You know, remember, do not translate. That's number 1. What was number 2? Write in the chat. Listen out for contractions. Gotcha, gonna, wanna, gotta. Adapt to the speaker's flow, as I said before. Learn the accent. Train your ears with the accent. But then while you're speaking to the people in person, adapt your ears quickly to their flow. We also have don't use subtitles for listening practice. It is good for other practices, but not listening practice. If you see the words, then it's no longer listening. You're reading. Good? And imitate a native accent, the Jamaican accent. So yeah, that's basically it for my chat. I'm gonna take some of you guys' questions now. So I'll be back in a minute.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Of course.
What an interesting presentation.
Thanks, man.
Indeed.
Honored.
Well, it's been a success. Many people are even asking you to answer some of the questions in Spanish in a future session. Would you accept another invitation?
Claro que sí. Cuando ustedes quieran, estoy dispuesto a hacerlo, por favor.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, we've taken 3 questions here from the audience. The very first question is, Daniel, we know you studied Spanish in Jamaica, right? Since you went to Colombia after obtaining Z1 level of Spanish, what aspects of your Spanish have improved since you arrived here to the country?
¿En qué idioma quiere que responda?
You
¿En
decide.
español?
Yeah.
Bueno, voy a hacerlo en
Let's
español.
in Spanish now that the
Sí,
public
ya que la gente
is
ya ha
asking.
pedido,
Yeah,
¿ya?
yeah, okay.
Entonces, cuando llegué a Colombia, bueno, como les dije, yo estudié español en la Universidad de las Indias Occidentales, the University of the West Indies, and I got C1 del Instituto de Cervantes, ¿no? That is from Spain. So that I did the DELE exam. First I did DELE B1 y después DELE C1. Entonces ya llegué a Colombia en 2017 con C1. Bueno, eso pensé. When I got here, I really realized that no sabía nada, porque ¿qué? Mis oídos no estaban bien entrenados para escuchar los acentos que existen aquí, y yo no tenía como una metodología para realmente afrontarme a ese reto, ¿no? Yo no sabía cómo, bueno, esa persona me está hablando, ¿qué voy a decir? You know, so my listening really improved, like from, I'd say 80% to 95%. Because I still don't listen perfectly. It's almost impossible, you know? Y también el aspecto de speaking. Obvio, yo tengo que hablar. Estoy en el terminal, tengo que hablar. Estoy pidiendo... Entonces, ¿qué? My listening and my speaking were the areas that really improved, like, I'd say 80%.
All right. Quite
Right.
interesting. Second question from the audience.
Right?
What material do you think we can use to improve our listening and speaking abilities? What is your advice?
Well, you see, the thing is, there's a plethora of material online. You can look for people who give specific listening advice. You can watch a lot of movies, series, interviews. You can download an application to speak with natives. Like I downloaded Hello Talk. That's an application I've been using since 2015, right? And this was really important for me because it helps me to connect with natives, like speaking, listening. So yeah, Hello Talk. You can watch Rachel's English on YouTube, British Council's tips. There's so many things you can use. So the material is it's endless.
It's endless indeed. And the last question, and this is a very interesting one.
Okay.
Got through there. There are many causes. There are many causes out there that promise to teach you English in 3 months, even less. How plausible are these claims?
Okay, so you ask me, and look at me, guys. Look at me. How plausible is it to learn English in 3 months? Impossible. You cannot learn a language in 3 months. Do not go and buy a course that, it's on the internet. The people that, come online and say, oh, you can learn English in 3 months, blah, 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 guaranteed. No. Ni la vida es una garantía. Entonces, ¿cómo va a ser un curso de inglés de 3 meses una garantía? Impossible. Please, guys, be prudent. You can't learn a language in 3 months. The most you may learn in 3 months is how you're doing and how to respond. Yeah?
Well, quite clear.
Yeah, don't fall for the propaganda and the marketing strategies. It doesn't work. You have to really put effort. 2 years for me to get to B1 and 3 years to get to C1.
Yeah, put effort. And well, probably buy a course here in CEJIP.
Maybe, yeah.
An English course here.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Quite interesting. Thank you very much to you all for asking questions.
Of course.
For this nice participation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hope you guys really enjoyed it.
I'm pretty sure they did. And thank you. Muchas gracias a ustedes también. Muchísimas gracias. En nombre del Centro Javeriano de Interculturalidad y Plurilingüismo, les damos las gracias. Se pide masivamente que vuelvas, que hables en español, que sigas haciendo comparaciones. Bueno, este es el tipo de actividades que hacemos en el Centro Javeriano de Interculturalidad y Plurilingüismo en nuestros cursos de lengua. Tomen nota de nuestro correo CEJIP con C, @javeriana.edu.co, o visiten nuestra página www.comunicacionylenguaje.javeriana.edu.co/CEJIP. Tenemos precios fantásticos al alcance de todos, una metodología absolutamente innovadora, un esquema de cursos semipersonalizados, únicamente 4 estudiantes y el sello de calidad javeriana. Hemos implantado una metodología absolutamente innovadora y muy pronto cursos para aprender italiano, francés, alemán y cursos de preparación para exámenes internacionales. Este tipo de cosas son las que hacemos en el CEJIP. Así que están muy invitados a conocernos, a visitar nuestra página web. Y nuevamente, muchísimas gracias, Daniel, y muchísimas gracias a ustedes.
Claro.
Esperamos verte muy pronto, Daniel.
Claro, nos vemos. Bye, bye.